and welcome to Have You Been Here? I'm Rita Musera from Melrose TV, and today we're visiting the Revere History Museum in the beautiful city of Revere, Massachusetts. The museum boasts of many exhibits and memorabilia of days gone by. With me is the historian of the city of Revere, Mary Jane Terenzi, who will tell you all about the old and the new Revere. Mary Jane?
Hi, I am the president of the Revere Society for Cultural and Historic Preservation, and we have started the Revere Museum. I hope you'll come and see everything that we have here, from beach exhibits, a flying horse, lots of stuff about the history of Revere gone by, and I think you'll be excited.
How long has it been in the museum?
We acquired this building in 1996, and we've been working on it diligently ever since.
Just since 96 you've done all this. This is
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
And what was this before?
It was a rectory for the Catholic Church, for Immaculate Conception Church.
Oh, I see. And how many floors do you have?
We have 4 floors.
Oh my
We
goodness.
have 14 active exhibit rooms, and we have a back L that is storage. It's not heated, and quite a bit of unused space. Not empty, but unused.
Oh, from what I see, you have so much memorabilia. It's amazing.
It really is amazing.
You must get lots of grandparents with their grandchildren telling them about their amusement.
Yes, recently we had a booth at the sand sculpture contest on Revere Beach, and everyone who came spoke about what they remembered. It was really... Anybody else want a paper towel? No? No?
Sure.
Yes. International Sand Sculpture Festival now. So the people from all over the world entered to be in it. I believe this year there were 25 sculptures. And it was really special. Every year it's more amazing.
I didn't see it, but I saw it on TV, and no matter what I spoke with, they said it was just out of this world.
Yes, it was amazing. And it was really great to be there the whole time and meet all kinds of people. That's what I like the most, is meeting people at the beach who remember, or their grandmother worked at one of the amusements, or their mother worked at one of the amusements, because if you lived in Revere, that was your summer job.
Now let's talk a little about the city of Revere.
Mm-hmm.
It's named because of Paul Revere, right?
Yes.
But I understand it was named North Chelsea.
Yes, it was part of Chelsea. It was North Chelsea. It was, in the beginning, it was Rumney Marsh, and it was Revere Town, and then Revere City in 1896.
Oh, 1896.
Yeah.
Well, it was North Chelsea. Somebody was
It was.
I read it somewhere.
Yeah, it was North Chelsea. We just, at that time, the towns migrated off from the city of Boston. So originally, everything was city of Boston.
Oh.
And then the lands were set off to Winthrop, Chelsea, and East Boston.
And at the beginning of the inception of the city, it was habited by Native Americans.
Yes, actually where I live in Oak Island, it was the summer home of the Indians. It was a wonderful, almost like a wildlife preserve where I live in Oak Island. Had tremendous flowers and ferns and wildlife, and then the beach right down the street.
And they got along beautifully with the immigrants and all that.
The Indians. Well, I think the Indians were pretty much by themselves at that time. Yeah. They weren't hanging around with too many, because in Revere there were 7 farms to begin with.
Farming.
Yes, it was a farming community, and it really didn't become an amusement place until the trains came in. So once the people had transportation, this was a destination.
Well, I know this beach was a pivotal force of the city, but I think the amusements took a big major part.
Oh yes, it was. It was the place to go, it really was. Did you go to Revere Beach when you were young?
Yes, not to Revere Beach, but to the amusements.
Yes.
I never did go to Revere Beach, but I did now. I do now. I think.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful It's one of the oldest in the country. I think.
It's the oldest public beach, yeah.
It is, it is public.
It's a public beach, yeah.
Shall we look around?
Yes, please.
Oh, yes.
This building here was the old high school,
Oh,
and it was across the street from here.
but I have to commend you how beautiful it's put together.
Yes, thank you.
And how wonderful it's being kept.
Well,
it looks like it was just made.
nobody lives here, so that's a big plus because no one lives here. We're actually only here as a group once a month, and then we're open to the public every Saturday from 1 to 4. So
Just that, I was going to ask about the hours.
yeah, it's just on Saturday from 1 to 4 because we're all volunteer. So
Well, the museum is so special.
it really is, and it's just
It deserves that table.
it's very nice. I hope more people
But
see this and want to come by.
I can imagine the people that are interested they must be in, not only from Revere, I'm sure they come from all over the place.
They really do.
Yeah. Now, how do you, I just want to know about the museum. Publicity, how do you do publicity?
Well, we have a Facebook page, and we advertise in the local papers, and mostly word of mouth. We had a website. It's since broken. We're working on a new one, but yeah, I know. That's why you have to look on Facebook because all of our stuff is on Facebook. Did you find us on Facebook?
No, I didn't. I don't know Facebook.
Oh well, one of you ladies must do Facebook. There you go.
Oh,
so
anyway.
yeah, she'll show you our Facebook page. It's very cool. We took a lot of the pictures from inside the museum.
Those jackets are just priceless.
Yeah, we have actually a couple of members who are collectors too.
Oh.
So what's great about that is their collections are so big and they love Revere so much that they share. And so, these are from personal collections.
Yeah, and of course the beach is a big attraction too.
It is too, but if you were born and brought up here, everything here is special.
Oh, isn't that wonderful?
Yeah.
That's why I call that exciting in Revere.
It's exciting in Revere. Yeah. It's a nice little town.
Do you do events, Mary Jane?
Do I do events? We do events outside of the building. We have on August 22nd, we're taking a trip to Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum.
Oh, know about that.
Yes, it's my favorite museum.
Gorgeous.
And then to follow up with that, on Sunday we have a theater company coming in to do a presentation of Isabella. So that's all tied up on the. You want to come? We have tickets available.
But I wondered if you did events in the building.
We don't. We have open houses. We haven't.
That's one of them. Yeah.
Yeah. As the collection has grown, and it's it's hard to put 100 people into a place with this stuff. It's not.
And also your staff too.
Right. We need the staff, and we have done them. We will rent out just one room in the kitchen for like a small, bereavement party or something like that. Something small, a meeting, something like that, but not the entire.
Are there any plans for more hours to be open?
If you want to join, I'll give you a day.
It's so rewarding, not for you. It must be
really is.
rewarding.
It is. I just retired, so I'm spending more time here than ever.
Oh, you could see you love it because it's the way it looks. It's reflection.
Thank you. We can move along and go into the next room. Excuse me. It's City Hall.
Oh, the pictures are just a work of art. We shall go upstairs, or shall we?
Sure.
Okay.
So Town Hall burnt in 1897, and it burned to the ground. And if you see in this picture before it burned, there's a lantern. This is the glass from that lantern. And I believe that's the only thing surviving that fire in existence. Did she come up?
Oh, my heaven.
Louise is getting downstairs.
Well, Louise is downstairs. Louise, I have the picture. I'll be right back. It's probably smart and then she's in the air conditioning. We have several collections here. We have the library collection, as we call it, and that was given to us by the public library, but it originally belonged to the Revere Historic Society, and they had had it in storage for almost 100 years. So,
That's nice.
yeah.
So
we finally came home.
Nothing is on loan, everything belongs to you.
No, we have quite a few things on loan. We have,
Really?
yes, in the next room we have our carousel horse is on loan
I
from
went
the
to
city of
it on
Revere.
loan.
Yeah. So that's quite a bit on loan, actually.
Speaking of horses, it's Wonderland still alive?
No,
Oh.
Wonderland was dogs. Suffolk
Oh,
Downs is
that's right.
horses.
Oh,
Yeah.
Suffolk. Oh.
Yeah, Wonderland's in the process of being torn down.
Oh,
And Suffolk Downs is already been bought by a company who's going to build an entire development.
development.
Mhm.
That's interesting. Must be interesting for you to see all these things.
Yes,
Grow.
yes. I have not lived here my entire life, but I've seen quite a bit since I moved here in 1977,
Oh.
and I've seen quite a
I've seen
bit.
quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
This is the Revere Beach clock. This is the that is one of the bathing suits that you would have rented. Jack Kellerman was a very famous Australian swimmer who came to Revere Beach to swim to Boston Light, I believe, and also she stayed for this one season as a performer. A $1 Million Mermaid, and I think this may be her, no, a Daughter of the Gods. So this is only $1 Million Mermaid.
Okay.
And these may be other swimmers. So Revere was very famous for its female swimmers. There were quite a few in Revere at the beach. Madeline Burlow, Annette Kellerman, and Annie Moorcroft, and none became quite so famous as Annette Kellerman. She went on to be the star of it just went right out of my head. Annette Kellerman went on to become the star of $1 Million Mermaid, as well as other great films in Hollywood. At that time, they were great films. She was known for her very, very long hair, which could be strategically placed over the parts that weren't allowed to be seen on television.
Oh my goodness.
And if you remember, she was very risque. She was arrested for improper dress on Revere Beach. So she had a bathing suit, which looked like a regular bathing suit, and then she had to sew on a bottom that went all the way down to her feet, so she would be decent.
Times have changed.
Yes, very much so.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
This was built for us about 10 years ago. It represents 1954 on Revere Beach. And it's pretty well done. It's not 100% accurate, but it's fun, and people remember a lot of those things when they come to visit us.
Amazing. Cycle.
Yeah, the double Ferris wheel, the pool, the ocean water pool.
Oh.
That picture up there shows the double roller Ferris wheel, and there's a double Ferris
Oh,
wheel.
there's my horse.
Yes, there. Okay, Peter McCauley is actually known as Mr. Revere Beach.
Oh.
He collected everything about Revere Beach, I think, almost for his whole life. He was, everything about Revere he loved. He lived in the neighborhood, he worked for the city, he worked for the dog track. He was just very, very involved in everything that was going on. And when he passed, it was terrible because he's responsible for our having this building and having this wonderful museum.
This is just wonderful.
Yeah, this is
so
really
much space, dedicated to it.
And yes. So you asked me if we had anything on loan.
Yeah.
So in this case, this is Peter's collection of ruby glass.
Oh yeah.
Have you ever seen it?
No.
This is ruby glass. So if you went to the beach and wanted to get your mom something or your grandmom something, you would get a piece of this glass etched, and it would cost you about a dime.
Oh.
Now it's worth probably hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
Yes. So they have your initials put on. This one is dated 1903. They have dates on them. They're just really beautiful. So
this was donated to the museum.
This is on loan from the city. It belongs to the city of Revere. It belongs to the city of Revere. It's on loan.
Is it a duration time?
No.
No.
And that horse was actually bought from.
I think I remember riding that horse.
He's kind of plain. He's not a fancy horse. At City Hall, they have a fancy horse.
Oh, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Where is City Hall?
City Hall is right behind us on at the end of Pleasant Street in Broadway.
Oh, that's right around the corner.
Yep.
That's interesting. Every room is more interesting than the other. It's just, you've done an amazing.
I Wonderland, but I took up much more room. It was quite big. And that was totally different than the beach. The beach hadn't even begun to have amusements yet, and we had Wonderland that rivaled Disney. Disney wasn't even invented yet. Right around the same time.
Oh.
To go to different amusements or postcards. Sometimes it would be tickets, sometimes it would be postcards. Do you remember the Frolics?
Yes.
Barbara Streisand played. Let's see. Lots of people played there.
It's a check here.
Yeah.
And how many tickets?
Yeah, we're all different kinds of tickets. Now this is part of the city's collection as well. Anything that is in a glass case belongs, yeah, to the city. But then you went to Revere Beach, you went fully clothed in your best clothes, right? Can you imagine going to the beach on a day like today with all those clothes on?
Don't forget the hat.
The hat, yeah. The shirt tied up tight. Long skirts. And that stretch right there, that's pavilion, the bandstand, and the second pavilion is exactly the same as it was at that time.
Yes, it is. Okay.
So a lot of people don't know that the first naval engagement of the Civil War was fought in Revere. It was called the Battle of Chelsea Creek. And these are some things that were found along the Chelsea Creek that may have had something to do with the battle. There are 2 cannonballs, there is a bayonet, there are powder horns, clay pipes, all of the things that you might associate with an army. Indians living in Revere. Revere was a great summer home for Indian tribes, and as you can see, we have plenty of arrowheads and axe heads dug up from around the city. magician, Harrington, Jonathan Harrington. He was a magician who did shows in Revere in the 1800s. He was actually from Revere. This picture shows Jem Carney. He fought in the ring for 4 hours and 58 minutes, non-stop. And he was, this is a man whose family is from Revere. He was from Revere, and he traveled with Admiral Byrd to the North Pole. His name is Dustin, and that's what Dustin Island is named for. We had a mirage on Revere Beach. We had sheep buried in the blizzard of 1929 who were found alive a week later, February. They were buried alive on February 11th, and they were found on March 8th, still alive, under the snow. I don't think those are really the sheep, but that's, you know, some really interesting things. We've had a sea serpent sighting. We had a gold rush. We had a wreck off the beach that you could sit in a restaurant on the beach and see the wreck in full view. That was many, many years ago. Yeah.
What was the name of the wreck?
They don't actually say. It says that you could see it from the hippodrome, so it doesn't say what the wreck is. But they did take boats to Revere Beach to wreck and set on fire. So as an amusement to attract crowds, they would bring up a real boat, a real sailing vessel, and burn it off the beach or burn it off the Point of Pines, just for amusement. With Lorraine is the transportation room. As you can see, Revere had a lot of railroad stops. We had the narrow gauge. We had trolleys. We had the B&M line. So it was a pretty big hub for business, and also, not just amusements, but people, were able to travel to Boston to work, and it was a fairly easy way to get home. So that was very popular in that day. And this picture actually shows the people commuting on the ferry from Revere to Boston. So when you drive up towards Route 1 on Squire Road, Northgate was an airport. And that shows all the planes lined up. So in this picture here where all the planes are lined up, that's actually Squire Road in front of those planes. See the road that runs through that goes Squire Road down to the circle. And now, if you're driving from Squire Road to go to Route 1, and you look off to the right and you see all that water there, that is called the Seaplane Basin, and seaplanes used to land there. On the narrow gauge, there was nowhere for the train to turn around. The train just went to the end, and just like the blue line does now, you get on the blue line, it doesn't turn around, it just comes back. The conductor moves to the other side of the train. Well, on the blue line, you can, sit wherever you want, but on those trains, the conductor would come down, if I can do this, and change the seat back to face the other way. So when you went the other way, you just faced the other way. When you came back, you faced that way. The oldest houses in Revere, from the original families that lived in Revere. And there's a map showing where each family resided at that time. And as you can see, there weren't a heck of a lot of families, 10, 20, 30, 40, maybe 50 or 60 families at that time, covering all of Revere. All the history of the town. And the one next to it, that's called, it was the first church, and now it is, and the next to it was the Eustace House, and now it is a mental health center. So they don't have any restrictions on preservation on that building, so it looks the same except there's no tower. And the Eustace House has been renovated, but it's still there, which is something. This is the Rumney Marsh Burial Ground, and there are several Civil War soldiers who fought in the Revolution buried there.
Okay, go ahead.
We had 2 Jewish temples in Revere. One has just been torn down, is making way for veterans housing. But we have a lot of the artifacts from that temple. We have artifacts from churches that have closed, St. Teresa's, St. John Vianney. There was an Episcopal church in Beechmont that we have records and things from. That's been closed for probably 30 or 40 years. And this building that we're in actually was the church rectory for that church on top. And that church was torn down and a new Catholic church was built across the street. Those are typical shoes from that time period, and those are actually made in Lynn, but those are salesman's samples, so they aren't real shoes.
Right.
So this is the what we call the industry room, and it has to do with working in Revere. Horatio Alger was a prolific writer who lived right behind the museum on Pleasant Street. He wrote hundreds of books having to do with rags and riches and pulling yourselves up by the bootstraps and newspaper boys and things like that. And they were hugely popular at that time. There's a Horatio Alger Society. You can collect stamps, and it's just, he was very, very popular. Of course, you had the tracks in Revere, Wonderland Track and Suffolk Downs, and you had bottling companies and things like that. There was a Arctic Beverage. There were farms. Revere was a huge farming community. It was a very thriving town.
What's on this wall?
That is the farms, the Suffolk Farms. Squire's Pig Farm is represented there. The bottling plant, the varnish company. There were just there was an ice company. There was quite a bit of industry here, but mainly the business in Revere was farming. And the pig farms really helped that out as well. So on Chelsea Creek, besides there being a battle there was a spice grinding mill, and they were very famous at the turn of the century for their spices. And you can even see some of them around, maybe in your grandmother's spice cabinet still. They made just about every spice you can think of.
Well, Mary Jane, it's been an honor to meet a real historian.
Thank you
You've
so
done a great
much.
job in doing it. Oh, and so much to do and see. It's amazing. I'm coming back.
Oh, great.
Thank you
And
so
I'm
much.
so happy that
And many
everyone
thanks
gets
for
to
the
see this.
panoramic photo. That
Oh.
was wonderful. I'll cherish it always.
All right.
you.
Thank you so much, Rita.
This has been a presentation from Melrose TV, and if you've been here, come and see us. Bye-bye. But I have a lot of life.